transfer deadline, and not as many came in as you hoped. Bit disappointed?
No, disappointed, but that's the way it works. Sometimes you get deals done, sometimes you don't, and you can look in why and why not. The fact is that we're pleased to get Darren in. I think that was a good signing for us, and we've got what we've got now. And we have to get on with it.
What happened in Carlton Cole?
No, that was always the situation. I'd spoke to Sam the day before, and the situation with Carlton was, they had to get someone in first before he could come, and they were open to do a deal right up until the last minute, and that deal never went through. So Carlton had to go back. I understand that. There's no shenanigans or anything like that going on. It was just one of them where there was a promise, that if they signed someone, we could have Carlton.
Whatever news about players coming in, going out, whatever you got at West Brom this week, Sider got the headlines.
Yeah, I feel a little bit sorry for him in some respects. I think that speaking to him, the kid has been at this football club since he was 10 years of age, and he's got real respect for everybody and at the club and everybody who's helped him to get where he's got so far. The question I think was would he like to go on and play in a top 4 team or whatever. And everybody wants to play in a top 4 team if they can. His responsibility is to work for us until that happens, and his responsibility is to go out and do his best for us and score as many goals as he can from now until the end of the season. Sometimes I really do worry about young players, about the advice they're getting, about the people who are around them, about the people who are directing them, and with the media attention that follows and surrounds the Premier League and young players, and especially players of great talent, and the kid has got great talent. It's a minefield for them at times, Peter, and they have to learn and recognise and realise that whatever they say, if they're being flippant or if they don't think about it, they'll be jumped on. The important thing is, as I've said, I've spoken to him and I've spoken to his people. Most important thing Sido has got to do is not talk about what he wants to do, but actually go out there and do it. And that's what all the good players do. The good players actually perform on the pitch, and then if they become, or if they get to a stage where they're doing that well, and if he gets to a stage where he's doing that well, then clubs will there'll be clubs interested. He's not got to that stage yet. If he had have, I'd have had phone calls this window, and we've had no phone calls whatsoever. So the priority for him is to stop, listening to all the kerfuffle that goes on, and all the stuff that's been, or people blowing in his ear, and get down to what he's paid for, and that is, playing football for this football club, which is a great football club. It's got great tradition. They've had some wonderful, wonderful players at this football club, and Sido still hasn't become that. He's got a long way to go yet.
There's a bit of a telling off in the middle of all that. Have you punished him at all, or fined him? Or?
He's been in a naughty chair, but he's okay.
Where'd you keep the naughty chair, Dan?
Not too far away from my desk.
You were in it?
Did you?
You were in it the other week. No, like I say, I do.
The club allowed him, didn't they, to do the interview? So I didn't know.
Well, again, I think he's gone and done an interview, but an interview for something else, not for what he'd ended up talking about. And I think the club we've got to look at, looking after, especially the younger players, and making sure that they're guided through what is a minefield at times.
Do you look at him and think, I don't need this sort of frustration. We need all to.
No, not at all. I think people are different, Pete, and I think that the life is a lot different to when I was brought up, and it's a lot different to when you were brought up. The world's changed.
Darren Fletcher seems to have got his head around this. You'd think it'd be quite difficult for leaving Manchester United, but he's prepared himself quite well. Have you got this?
No, to everybody I've spoken to about Darren, we spoke to Darren before he went up to West Ham, and we were very, very keen to get him to the football club. Not just because of his football ability. I think if you go out and watch the training, if you watch what he does, and the way he projects himself, he's an absolute first-class lad. And we're just talking about father figures. If you have a look at what Sir Alex has done now, we took Shawcross from Manchester United when he was 18, 19 years of age, And they're just, you know, and Sir Alex has to take a lot of credit for this, and the people at Manchester United have to take a lot of credit for this. You know, the way Ryan Shawcross, you know, has conducted himself over the years has been absolutely fantastic, and it shows again with Darren. You know, that you know, there's that stamp there. You know, they've been brought up the right way.
Is this that sort of professionalism that you're on about that Sido needs to look at?
I think not just Sido. I'm saying this is general. I think we generally have to do. You know, we talk about academy football and we talk about all the technical stuff that we have to put in place to produce good players. One of the great voids in academy is actually, you know, role models, people who can actually teach them what's right and wrong off the pitch and guide them through, as I've said, the minefields that are just waiting for them, and, you know, guide their characters. It's not just being good players, it's being strong enough as a character to understand that you've been given a God-given gift, and, you know, to get the most out of it, you've got to behave yourself in not just the way you play your football, but, you know, the way that you lead your life. And these, you know, sometimes players forget that, you know, they are footballers, young players. They get carried away with everything that comes with it, and they forget what they really are, and that is professional footballers, and that's their sport. And like I say, they are, you know, they've been given a real talent, and you know, they should really, really respect that.
Will Darren Fletcher start for you this weekend?
He's got a good chance.
It's another biggie. I haven't sat here yet talking to you without it being a massive game.
They're all big games for 15 games to go. We understand. Obviously, we were disappointed with the window in some respects because we were trying to strengthen other areas. And I think everybody, whether it's you or the press in here and the people who watch or have been watching West Brom for the last few months or 18 months, we needed one or two players in certain areas, and we've not been able to do that. So we know it's going to be tough now until the season finishes. But, you know, we have to deal with that and get on with it.
He's up to your percentage though. When you put a team out and you've got Darren Fletcher in the middle there, all of a sudden it seems like you've got more.
No, I you know, like I say, I'm really, really pleased that he's joined the football club, because he, you know, like I say, the dressing room, you know, you speak to the people in the dressing room, you know, and he's only been here 4 or 5 days, Pete. You know, he trains well, he looks after himself. The way he conducts himself off the football pitch is first class.
And just finally, your opposition made far more of this than anybody thought at the beginning of the season.
Now, Sean's a good lad. You know, you talk about, you know, solid human beings. You know, he's a solid human being, and he's a good lad, and his team reflects what he's all about and what he's been about since he was a player. And you know, we know how tough it'll be there on Sunday. I know he's tougher than me.
We were just talking earlier about obviously he went up to Burnley with Man United right at the start of the season. They got a 0-0 there, which puts into perspective, you know, the task.
Yeah, like I say, I've watched the last couple of games that Burnley have played at home, and, you know, they've been unfortunate, you know, not to win certain games, and it'll be a tough game. We know it'll be a tough game. In Ings, they have an absolute outstanding talent, someone who can score goals, and someone who will be dangerous. But you look through them, and they're all, every player there is, you know, playing for one another. I think they've got great stats. You know, their work rate, effort, and commitment is, you know, unquestionable. So we know it will be tough.